The idea is that this is actually how the Upanishads should be studied. Verse, not just to get the meaning of the words, but to get the inner meaning. The meaning is revealed through meditating on it. And these mantras are very powerful because they are actually they are the teachings of the rishis based on their direct experience of reality, of the utmost reality. Now, I have a few sheets here because we're picking up where we left off a year ago with Mundaka Upanishad. We were on the third Mundaka, the first chapter, you can say, of the third Mundaka. So tonight we'll start the second chapter. So if one of you can come up and grab these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This way we can follow along. It makes it much more easy to actually meditate on the verse when you 6 and 7. That's the last one. This is okay, but and even then pass them out because and the translations will be different. No, each person has a different translation, and then we can also follow this particular translation, which I have taken mostly from Swami Nikhilananda, but here and there I have changed it also because where it needed to be changed in my to bring it into gender neutral language for one, and also one extra one. Really? Okay. So let's start with a peace chant, and I think, do you know it, or shall I do it? I'll do it phrase by phrase, and then we can chant it all together, just in case you don't remember completely. This is the Shanti mantra which opens the Mundaka Upanishad. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatraha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatraha Sthirairangai Stuštuvagam Sastanubhihi Sthirairangai Stuštuvagam Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vridhashravaha Swasti na Indro Vridhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarkshyo arishtanemihi Swasti nastarkshyo arishtanemihi Swasti no brahaspatir dadhatu Swasti no brahaspatir dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shall we chant the whole thing together now once? Then we'll get the full force of it. Om. Together, right? Om Bhadram Karnebhiः Shrunuyama Devaः Bhadram Pashyemakshabhirya Jatraः Sthirairangai Stuštuvagam Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vridhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarkshyo arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us read the English translation together. Om, O ye shining ones, may we hear with our ears what is auspicious. O ye worshipful ones, may we see with our eyes what is auspicious. May we sing praises to you and enjoy with strong limbs and body the life allotted to us by the divine. May the one of enhanced fame be auspicious unto us. May the all-knowing one be auspicious unto us. May the destroyer of all evils be auspicious unto us. May the supreme teacher bestow upon us auspiciousness. Om, peace, peace, peace. So it's actually very important truths embedded in this prayer, which we the students begin our study with. And first of all, it emphasizes the importance of what we take in through our senses. And as we strive to deepen our spiritual life, as we strive to understand the teaching of the Upanishads, these highest teachings, let we not fill our minds with rubbish, which we take in through the ears and through the eyes primarily. So may we rather hear the auspicious things, those things which turn us Godwards. May we see those blessed things which turn us towards the divine. And yes, may our bodies and our minds be strong, and may we live our life fully, singing the praises of the divine. And then the second half of the prayer is invoking the blessings of the divine in its different aspects, in its aspect of the Lord who is the ancient Lord of well known everywhere, the one who is all knowing, the one who destroys evil, the one who is the teacher. So like that we seek the blessings of the divine, that we may not just get an intellectual grasp of the teachings, but may we actually gain direct experience, which is what these teachings are pointing us to. That always strikes me when we study the Upanishad closely. What's the purpose? Why is the Rishi telling us this? Not just to proclaim this is the truth. The Rishis are uttering these mantras to guide us, to guide all seekers to realize the truth, to realize who we are, which is, amazingly, infinite consciousness and bliss. That is our true nature. Only we don't realize it, we forget it. And so it's covered up. So these teachings are there too. The Rishi is urging his disciple to realize. The disciple Angiras in the case of Mundaka Upanishad, and the Guru is teaching him and us. So let's take the first verse of the last Mundaka. This is the last section of the Upanishad. And of course there are many famous verses already covered. There are a few well-known verses here too, which we will cover, if not today, then the next time, because the third verse is especially, all these verses are well-known. It's a short Upanishad, and they're very powerful verses. So, no, that's the Mandukya, right, which sounds similar. I know it's easy to confuse the two, but it is a short one. I'm not sure. I forgot to count the total number of verses in the Mundaka. But let's see. This chapter has 11 verses, and the last verse is just like a finishing verse. So 10 important verses. So these verses are all in poetry. They're also very poetic. They have rhyming or repeating words, and they have the meter. So one has to catch the meter, the rhythm, the chanda, in order to really enjoy it. So let's try. I'm going to chant this verse once, and then we'll break it down and chant each word, and then we'll have the meditation. Okay. This is number 1, 3.2.1. Take the sheet also. Yeah, because it has it nicely in Devanagari and in English, and it has the translation that I'm using. So it helps, because there are different translations. I selected, as I said, I've taken the translation mainly from Swami Nikhilananda, with little adjustments here and there according to my limited understanding. And to remove that, because he still writes in the old masculine way, that if a man does this, if a man does that, but our class is half women, so it should be gender neutral. Then it becomes more, the teachings are not restricted to men, so I just adjust the translation. Although I, of course, failed in the very first verse to adjust it properly. That one we'll change it to. Okay. So let's listen to this first mantra. Savedai tat paramam brahma dhama yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubhram upasate purusham ye hyakamaha te shukrame tad ativartanti dhiraha upasate purusham ye hyakamaha te shukrame tad ativartanti dhiraha. All right, we'll read the translation once, quickly. That one, the knower of the self, knows that supreme abode of Brahman, which shines brightly and in which the universe rests. Those wise ones who, free from desires, worship such a person, transcend the seed of birth. All right, let's chant it together once. Savedai tat paramam brahma dhama yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubhram upasate purusham ye hyakamaha te shukram etad ativartanti dhiraha. Okay, good. I'm going to chant quarter by quarter. Savedai tat paramam brahma dhama savedai tat paramam brahma dhama yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubhram yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubhram upasate purusham ye hyakamaha upasate purusham ye hyakamaha te shukrame tad ativartanti dhiraha te shukrame tad ativartanti dhiraha. Okay, shall we chant it once all together? Then it drives the words into our minds. Savedai tat paramam brahma dhama yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubhram upasate purusham ye hyakamaha te shukrame tad ativartanti dhiraha. Okay, where sometimes there's an S in the English, that's at the end of the word. I'm changing it to visarga. I'm breaking the sandhi there. That's why it sounds, it's written hyakamas, but I'm If you chant it all together, it would be Hyakamaste, but because I'm breaking it there, so I break the Sandhi. So this is wonderful. The first line describes someone who has realized the ultimate reality, called Brahman. And it gives a little description of that Brahman. And the second line talks about those seekers like ourselves who actually worship such a person who has realized, if they are free from desires, they also attain that realization. And as it's put poetically here, transcend the seed of birth. So let's look at it word by word. Sa Veda etat paramam brahma. Sa, he or she, that person, Veda, who knows, etat paramam brahma, this paramam brahma, this supreme Brahman. An interesting language here, dhamma. Dhamma, it means actually like abode or place. The paramam dhamam. We have that, there's that board game Sri Ramakrishna the young ones used to play in Sri Ramakrishna's room. Golak Dham. Dham, the abode of Goloka. Golok Dham. So dhamma is that abode. And of course, Brahman actually isn't an abode. Brahman is the ultimate reality. All space, all abodes are within Brahman. Not that Brahman is an abode separate from this, but for us seekers, it may be poetically expressed in that way. We are seeking to attain that realization of that place. So that one who knows, the knower of that Paramam Brahma, the supreme abode of Brahman, which is, what is it? Yatra, in which Vishwam, this entire universe, Nihitam, is placed or rests. So, Yatra Vishwam Nihitam, in which this universe rests. Bhati Shubhram, and shines brightly. It's shining brightly. It is the light of all lights. So this first line describes that person who has realized this Brahman, knows that supreme abode of Brahman, in which this universe rests and which shines brightly. Upasate Purusham. Okay, so we can start with the last word, dhiraha, those wise people, which is us, ideally. Dhiraha, who upasate, who worship such a person who is has realized Brahman. Yehi akamaha, without desire. They shukram etad ativartanti, they transcend, they go across the seed, the shukram, the seed of birth. In other words, they are not born again. They attain mukti, liberation. And this is interesting because here we get a hint of what we do. We worship Sri Ramakrishna. We meditate on Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna could be seen as one who is fully established in the self, is not separate from the Paramatman. So the Upanishad here is hinting that those who worship such a one also attain that liberation. But the important part here is free from desires. And actually, this is referring to the last verse of the previous Mundaka, in which it says, a person who has attained that, well, let me read the translation. Whatever world a person of pure understanding envisages in the mind, and whatever desire he or she cherishes, that world he conquers, and those desires he obtains. Therefore, let everyone who wants prosperity worship the one who knows the self. So if those who desire prosperity also are guided here in the Upanishad to worship the Atmavid, the one who knows the self. And they will gain prosperity, they will gain their desires. But our aim is not worldly prosperity, our aim is freedom, our aim is realization. So here in this next Mundaka, it suggested if we can worship without desire, then we shall attain the liberation. It is said, if we get what we want. So if we want riches, we can do tapas, we can do intense japa and meditation. It's the scriptures are full of like the Puranas and the Mahabharata, full of stories of how the warriors, they were like Arjuna, he went and did intense tapas. Why? To get the special astra, the special weapon, as a boon from the Lord. So if we do tapas with some desire, yes, we can get those things. But actually, what we think we want actually is not really what we want. What we really want, what we all really want, is eternal peace and freedom, which is actually already ours. We simply have to work at removing the veils, and to do that, we have to remove all other desires. Only that one desire. We have to let go of the other desires, understanding that if this desire is fulfilled, all desires are fulfilled. So let's take this verse now, and we can sit with this verse for maybe about 5 minutes. So let's chant it together once more. And then the way I like to do it actually is I like to keep my eyes a little open and read the verse silently to myself a few times and let the words sink in. And but you may have your own way of doing it, but that is how to try to really just let the meaning sink in, and then to grasp the meaning. There's a word coined by the famous American science fiction writer Robert E. Heinlein, and the word is grok. Have any of you heard the term grok? To grok something? Grok, G-R-O-K. It's now in the dictionary as a word, but it was coined in the 1960s by this writer, and it means to understand deeply, to really get it deep in your heart. You can understand something. So some of the I think in the tech field, sometimes people also use it to grok something. You haven't heard of it? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it's hey, Jirri. So we're just starting. We're going to chant the first verse once, and then we'll have 5 minutes of silent meditation on this verse. Savedaitat paramam brahma. Let's do it all together. Savedaitat paramam brahma dhama yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubhram upasate purusham ye hyakama te shukrame tat atinirvanti dhiraha ativartanti dhiraha. That one, the knower of the self, knows that supreme abode of Brahman, which shines brightly and in which the universe rests. Those wise ones who, free from desires, worship such a person, transcend the seed of birth. So let's look at the second verse. Okay, this is also a verse who's continuing with this theme of desire and giving up desire, all desires for anything other than spiritual realization. So I'll chant the verse once, then we'll chant it together. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha sakama bhirjayate tatra tatra paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. One who, cherishing objects, desires them, is born again, here or there, through those desires. But for one whose desires are satisfied and who is established in the self, all desires vanish, even here on earth. Okay. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha sakamabhir jayate tatra tatra paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha manyamanaha sakamabhir jayate tatra tatra paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ahaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. All together, the whole verse. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha sakamabhir jayate tatra tatra paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. Let's read the translation together. One who, cherishing objects, desires them, is born again here or there through those desires. But for one whose desires are satisfied and who is established in the self, all desires vanish even here on earth. Okay, let's go through it a little bit. Kaman, okay, we understand Kaman is the desires, or the objects of desires. Kaman, objects of desires. Yah, who, kamayate, goes on desiring, wishing, and manyamanaha. Manyamanaha, here he gives the translation brooding over. So this idea that desiring the object of desire and letting them run over in the mind, manyamanaha. They're running over in our mind and we're thinking about them and whatever. Sakamabhir, that person, through those desires, jayate, is born. Tatra tatra, there, here, and tatra tatra means like here and there. Tatra means there, but here and there. Born here and there, in this, maybe in this world or that world, or in this family, that family. It doesn't say clearly tatra tatra. Means it has the sense of again and again. In many different places, one is born. As one goes on ruminating over all those things, I want. And that's what we do, actually. And that's what our whole capitalist society is built on this. The whole system is designed to stimulate our desires and create new ones. if we didn't know that like a phone in our we didn't even 200 years ago, nobody even knew that they wanted a phone because such a thing didn't exist, and everybody was happy to write letters and send them. And then the telegraph came, and oh, now I want to send a telegram. And then the telephones came, now everyone wants a phone. Now everyone has a phone. Well, now we need the latest apps on the phone, and we need the latest phone with the better camera and all that thing. So we go on if we go on thinking of all those things. So here, the suggestion is, but paryapta kamasya, beautiful, paryapta kamasya, for that person who has satisfied all those desires. How can they be satisfied? How can they be stilled? Yes, when we find that our true self, when we realize our true self, which is full, it is purna, it is all those desires. It's not exactly that they're fulfilled, they become stilled. Another term they often use is purna kamaha. All the desires are completely fulfilled because there's nothing left to want, because we have attained perfect fulfillment. So for such a person, the kritatmanaha, the person who has self-possessed, self-established in the self, kritatmanaha, tu, but sarve, iha eva, here itself, iha eva, here itself, in this world itself, all the desires, sarve kamaha, praviliyanti, they disappear. So it seems a little bit like he's saying for one whose all the desires are gone, they all disappear. But all the desires are fulfilled means if we touch that realization, if we get the glimpse of our true self, then all the rest of the desires, they fall away naturally, because there's nothing left to desire. There's no lack anymore. We constantly feel a feeling of lack. Here, there's no lack at all. I forgot the first verse to ask if there are any comments or questions before we meditate on it. That's a beautiful verse. Let's chant it together, and we'll have another meditation. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha sa kamabhir jayate tatra tatra paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. One who, cherishing objects, desires them, is born again here or there through those desires. But for one whose desires are satisfied and who is established in the self, all desires vanish even here on earth. Manyamanaha, we can say revolving something around in the mind. Like brooding over. Kamabhir, but through desire. Kamabhir, jayate, born. Here, there, here and there. Paryapta kamasya, of the one whose desires are all satisfied, all fulfilled. Kritatmanastu, the one who is established in the self-established. Ihaiva means iha, here, eva, verily, here itself. Sarve kamaha, sarve goes with kamaha, sarve all, kamaha, sarve kamaha, all desires. Praviliyanti. Yeah, they all vanish or dissolve, or however you want to disappear. Praviliyanti. So, beautiful verse. I love doing this. It's not for everybody, but I love doing this. Reading the verse, and you slowly repeat it over and over. And also, you find that they're easily memorized this way. You repeat it deeply to yourself a few times, then you don't have to look anymore. All right, do we have time for one more? Shall we do one more? We'll go a little over probably then if we do. Okay, we're going to do one more. This is a famous one. These two are well known. And I think they also come in Katha Upanishad, or similar or exact, I forgot now. Okay, this is the verse number 3. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhayana bahuna shrutena yame vaishya vrinute tena labhyaha tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanu svam. Well, they can be. We're taking them. You want to do them together? No, well, they obviously they start with the same word. They have a similar rhythm and a similar nayamatma. This atman cannot be attained. First one pravachanena. The next one is balahinena. Means the atman cannot be labhyaha, cannot be attained by study. Just by pravachana, by study of the Vedas. And the second one is by the week. Swamiji especially liked that one. We'll have to say that one for next week. I don't think we'll have time for it today. But that's true. This one, Nayam Atma, Na Ayam. Let's chant it. Let's read the translation first. This Atman cannot be attained through study of the Vedas, nor through intelligence, nor through much learning. He who chooses Atman, by him alone is Atman attained. It is Atman that reveals to the seeker its true nature. Yeah, I guess I forgot. Some of them I changed it. One who chooses Atman, by that one alone is Atman attained. He or she. Okay. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishya vrinute tena labhyaha tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum swam Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishya vrinute tena labhyaha yame vaishya vrinute tena labhyaha tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum swam. Okay, now all together. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishya vrinute tena labhyaha tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum swam. Okay. This idea of labhyaha, that's is it attained. Na ayam, this atma, this self, na labhyaha, cannot be attained through what? Through pravachanena. Pravachanena is, well, you can translate it as discourses or study of the Vedas. Let's see what how Gambhiranandaji translates it. Pravachanena, through, but pravachanena, third case ending, through pravachana. And through pravachana, here he translates it as study. So there are different ways of translating Sanskrit words. So whatever it may be, through discourses, through study, through hearing talks, through these kind of things, the Atman cannot be attained. Attained means that often that language is used. No, we attain the Atman. Actually, it's not to be attained. Our true nature is, but the covers are removed. We realize, and it's spoken of as attainment. And we speak of someone, a great saint, as someone with great spiritual attainment. We use that language. So, to find ourselves. That's a nice way of putting it. Yes, we have to find ourselves. So it's neither through this pravachana, however we want to take it, through discourses, through study of the Vedas, through what did Gambhir Maharaj say again? He put it as just through study. He calls it study. Nor through, not by medhaya, through intelligence, or through bahuna shrutena, through much learning. Bahuna, much, shrutena, by learning, shrutena. That's probably right, shrutena, but through hearing much, that's true. Which you can understand as meaning listening to discourses and all that. So, right, shrutena, through much hearing. Yeah, Gambhir Maharaj translated as through much hearing. Right, so that's correct. But here the Sharavatmananda says shrutena, by hearing, that is learning. So by hearing, of course, in the Upanishadic days, that's how we learned, through hearing. We sit by the teacher and we hear. There was even books were not there. They were not written down. They were transmitted for generations and generations, hundreds of generations, just from guru to disciple. These Upanishads were passed on, and afterwards only were they written down. And that's when the mistakes started coming. They say you think that writing it down would preserve it better, but it turns out the studies have shown that oral transmission, fewer errors creep in when it's memorized and transmitted from that way orally. And when the scribes write it down, they tend to make mistakes, interestingly. Typos. So let's see. Okay, so we did half of it. So not by any of these things. And then here is this is it's translated in different ways, but let's see if we can catch the meaning here. Here. Oh, yam evaisha, yam eva, yam, he, No, that the self, that yam is referring to that, the self. The self, eva, esha, this self, verily, eva, or alone. It is gained. It is only gained. Yam, that, eva, only, this. Vrinute. Vrinute sometimes is translated as chooses, but also it could mean desires, or we can even think of it as longs for. Vrinute, tena labhyaha, by that person it is, through that, because it's that yearning which is important. So Sri says, it is gained only by one who longs for it with the whole heart. Tasya esha atma, to such a one who vrinute, who longs for it, who chooses it, who chooses Atman, who longs for to realize. Tasya esha atma, to that one, this Atma, vivrinute, reveals its true nature. Swam tanum, tanum swam. Tanum is form. Interesting. There's a variation. I have a tanum with a long u, and this says tanum. Tanum. I'm not sure which is right. I took mine from SanskritDocuments.org. I have to make a research that. Tanum swam. I think it's tanum swam, not tanum. Tanum swam. Tanum form. Swam, its own form. It reveals, in other words, it reveals its true nature. It doesn't have a form, of course, but Atman reveals vivrinute, its true nature, to one who chooses it, who longs for it, what do we choose for? Again, the same theme actually coming up. What do we really want? What do we really want? And when we really want God, when we really want self-realization, then that self reveals, it becomes revealed, it reveals itself to us. Yeah, that's the poetry, isn't it? Yeah. Vivrinate, yeah, the prefixes change the meaning, but I'm not a real Sanskrit scholar, you know. I fake it. That's why. But vivrinate is translated as reveals, and vrinate as seeks to reach, by Gambhirananda. Seeks to reach. So as chooses, desires, longs for, seeks to reach. Yes. All right, so the meaning is, to get the true meaning, we'll have to meditate on it now. Then the meaning will reveal itself to us. But it's got this beautiful poetry in it. I think you can feel it, no? The rhythm, the line, the rhythm, it, not by this, not by that, not by that. But there is a different, there is a different way of translating it, actually. And that is that the Atman is not attained through discourses, nor through intellectuality, nor through much learning, but is attained only by one whom he chooses, whom the Atman chooses. To such a one, Atman reveals his own nature. And that brings in the idea of grace. So I haven't taken that translation this time, but one can translate it in both ways. That actually it is Atman which chooses us to become a lumen. Then we get the idea of grace.
That is something like you can try as much as you want till the mother gives the grace.
So then the Atman, it's more like the personal God, because Atman, where's the question of grace in the case of Atman? But it's an interesting alternative interpretation. Let's chant it once together, and then have our have a little meditation, and then we can conclude. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishya vrinute tena labhyah tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum svam. This Atman cannot be attained through study of the Vedas, nor through intelligence, nor through much learning. He who chooses Atman, by him alone is Atman attained. It is Atman that reveals to the seeker its true nature. Any last comments or questions? True. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, right. Yes. Yes. That's Kodhamrita. We read about that, yes, right. Right, Atma actually can mean depending on the level. It can also refer actually to body, and it can refer to Jivatman, the individual soul. But here, mostly, later on, it refers also to the Jivatma. But typically, it refers to Paramatman, which means the supreme reality, which is not different from Brahman. Yeah. Paramatman, supreme reality, yes. In which, and the descriptions, like the first verse, was a beautiful description of the Yatra Vishwam Nihitam Bhati Shubhram, in which this universe rests, in which this universe rests and it shines brightly. So it gives some idea of the infinitude of Atman, that beyond all ideas, because this whole universe rests in Atman. Then what is Atman? It's something beyond big, you know. It's the ground, it's the very ground of existence if the whole universe rests in it. And it's shining because it's the light of all lights. So it gives a hint, what is the self like? What is the truth of the Atman, Paramatman? Its true nature. Right. Right. Its true nature is our true nature. That's right. Well, I hope this is a nice, you also enjoy this way of studying Upanishads. If one gets a restless mind at the time of one's meditation, well, take a verse. And it's a beautiful way of calming the mind and filling it with some holy thoughts. And you can take 5-10 minutes to just dive into a verse. Swami Turiyananda said how to study Upanishads. You take one verse and you dive into it and you live it for days at a time until it permeates you deeply and it reveals its inner meaning to you. So that's one way of studying. Kali Tapasi's room, right? Yes. 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 Good. Thank you for giving me the chance to meditate with you on these beautiful mantras of the Upanishad. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. From the unreal, lead us to the real. From darkness, lead us unto light. From death, lead us to immortality. Om, peace, peace.